What drew me to the early childhood profession? I was drawn to the early childhood profession through my passion for teaching. Having taught for over 20 years, I wanted to find a way to impact children in a different way. How could I make a difference? We're all searching in the world for ways that we can leave our mark. And looking back at my life, I am always inspired by teachers who inspired me. I think we all have that one teacher who's made such a difference in our lives. And so for me, I wanted to make a difference in the lives of young children at a time when their brains are developing, when their interests are being formed, when their passions are being formed. And this is such a crucial time in their life. The foundation of their learning is being developed. And so, just like a house, the foundation is so important. And so, these foundational years are the years and the time when we want to be impacting the lives of children. And so, for me, transitioning at this time in my life really is part of that aim of making that difference. And so, enrolling in the early childhood profession was just a part of that transition of wanting to make that difference. What do I consider to be a chief responsibility as an early childhood professional? Well, I do believe the NAEYC asks for educators to always be professional. So, professionalism at all times is key. Being able to create safe, inclusive, wholesome environments where children feel safe, where their families feel safe in trusting their children into our care or my care. And then also, too, being able to support the diverse learning of children that walk into the classroom. We have so many kids who come from so many different backgrounds, so many different ethnicities, and being able to work with these children every day, it's a crucial time um, and a crucial point where you have to be able to meet the needs of each child that's inside of the classroom. And then another responsibility is being able to recognize that these kids come from different cultures. And so being able to be culturally responsive and being able to ensure that they see themselves inside of the lessons that's being created, inside of the classroom environment, whether it be seeing just a photo of their family members on the wall, being able for them to just feel comfortable in the setting, and for parents to feel comfortable in the setting, and involving them. And so being able to involve parents is a very, very key responsibility also, so they can feel a part of what's going on in the life of their children. Um, what is the role of collaboration in professional practice? Collaboration plays such a crucial role um, in the practice of education and in teaching. Parents are the greatest form of knowledge and insight. They have all the answers. Well, they don't have all the answers, but they have all of what can help inform our practice as educators, because they're the first teachers of their child. And so being able to have a partnership with parents where I'm able to learn what the likes of the children are, learning what some of their tendencies are, that helps to help my practice, because I'm able to now engage lessons and create experiences where I'm catering to the needs of that child, to the passion of that child. And then the partnership only grows where we're able to communicate. I'm able to give them feedback, and they can then give me feedback, because we have a communication channel whereby we're able to help the total development of that child. And then it builds consistency. Being able to have a good partnership with parents means having family involvement. Family involvement is so crucial in the life of children. Um, and then that consistency of what's being taught in the classroom um, is seen at home. And whether it's just through the way a particular scheme is done or the way discipline is being handled, that builds that consistency where children learn that what happens at home happens in school. What happens in school happens at home, and so it's vice versa. And then also having a partnership with coworkers. Coworkers give insight also, because I may have a coworker who may have taught a child before. Children move from one stage to the next stage, from one grade level to the next grade level. And so being able to tap into that history and that vast array of knowledge of tendencies, being able to know what worked well, it just helps to create better experiences for the child, and learning becomes more consistent and able to build upon each other, whereby you don't have to follow the same things that a child would have learned from the year before. You're able to build upon where they are, because you know where they are in their stage of development. And so with that, being able to have a good partnership with a coworker, I'm able to also give them feedback of what's going on and what's working in my classroom. And so if we can work hand in hand and we can work together, I think it just benefits the whole school community. And then being able to bring the community into the classroom setting. Um, there are so many persons who bring and have so much knowledge. Being able to bring the community into the classroom, or take the classroom out into the community, it only helps with development, and it makes learning practical. I mean, nothing's better than a child being able to see some aspect of their culture outside of the walls of the classroom, or bringing someone from their culture inside of the classroom. I think that makes them feel a part. I think it helps with the inclusivity, and it also helps with them being able to just put a finger on and a hand on um, something that relates to their culture, to their background, and doing it on a consistent level too. Um, I think it's just really, really important. And then, from the standpoint of being able to reflect as a teacher, is really important. Um, whether it's day to day, whether it is being able to just see what worked well today inside of the class. I think that helps our future practice. It helps us to be able to recognize that we need to document, because documenting gives us something that we can go back to, that we can draw upon. We can draw upon that for future records, and being able to give those records to other teachers, because we would have written it down. And this is even something that parents can see in the development of their child. A part of the NAEC, part of professional conduct, or code of conduct, is being able to recognize we have to be growing as professionals. We have to be constantly learning. The more informed, the more professional development we do, the better the child is. It benefits them. It benefits their learning. And so, as an educator, my pursuit of continued learning is that much more important, because it directly impacts their learning. What am I an advocate for? Well, in early childhood, I think play. I'm a huge advocate of play. I think if you're able to incorporate play into your lessons, you're able to incorporate play into your everyday activities, children enjoy that. Who does not like to learn or feel like we're playing, but actually we're learning? And I think being able to incorporate play into your day-to-day classroom environment, it only makes learning more practical and more enjoyable. And I think the things that we play and do are things that we're also going to remember. And so being able to incorporate play into the everyday school day, I think, is something that I'm really passionate about. And then secondly, being able to integrate different subjects. Integration for me is very important. I think it just helps things to make sense. Um, whether I'm in an art lesson and I'm bringing social studies or history into that, I think learning is deeper, and we form a deeper form of understanding, a long lasting form of understanding, because we're able to see things from different perspective. One of the things I always hear people say is, when am I ever going to use math, this algebraic equation, or this whatever the scientific thing is that I'm doing in math? but being able to see it from a different standpoint and how you can utilize it, how I'm able to use measurements in art, um, but I'm using math, or how I'm able to see the importance of health um, in a science class, how subjects can be intertwined, and making sure that children develop holistically. Um, if we can create that holistic development for children, I think that is a huge accomplishment because the child becomes the greatest beneficiary of it. And I'm also an advocate of just being professional. I think the NAEYC asks for educators to, well, I don't think, it asks for educators to be professional at all time. And part of that professionalism is just being able to communicate with parents, being able to uphold standards, and then as a educator, just being a role model from the way I communicate, from the way I dialogue, from the way I carry myself, being a professional and being a role model because children will, and so if children can imitate positive positivity that they can see in their teachers and their parents, I think the world, the school, the community will be a better place.